feels like we're all in a kind of similar place in our heads right now, where we can really recognise the potential, but we're also extremely aware of the risks of misinformation and hallucinations and so on and so forth. What I'd like to do for this next session, so we've got an hour before lunch, is kind of move it to the next level and start to introduce some other tools to you, which I'm hoping are going to be really useful. But I want to stick on Notebook LM just for a little bit longer, because so far we've used it as a tool for teachers, for leaders, but actually when we give it to students, we can see it could be potentially very, very powerful. Just before we do that, I just wanted to, what I didn't show you is the feedback that came when I uploaded the document of this fictional student. And actually it's quite interesting, because what it does is it immediately picks up on her profile, it's dummy data, and what I actually asked AI to do is to generate a profile of a student with dyslexia. And it's picked up on that quite clearly. And it's basically focusing on, she needs support with organisation information, scientific vocabulary, decoding, benefits from visual aids and step-by-step guidance. And it gives you the adaptations here, look. The adaptation strategy it actually gives. And I think this could be very, very useful for individual teachers or maybe SENCOs or TAs, where they can have this, if you like. Let's do this then. They can have this as kind of the standard knowledge base, but then they could potentially drop in students and use that information to help plan bespoke support, because they know that it's going to be based on combining the curriculum, or the scheme of work or the lesson, with the particular student's needs. So you can see we can start to do some quite interesting things. Again, if you're uploading this to a non-school Notebook LM, you'd need to make sure that data was anonymised. So Chloe Davis would become CD, or just Chloe, or Pupil 135, whatever it is. Just make sure that the data and the name are not linked together as you upload it. But if you do that on a case-by-case basis, it could potentially become really, really powerful as a tool for bespoke planning.
Mass upload, like one classroom with SEN needs.
Yeah.
Handle that pretty well.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, no, it handles large data sets extremely well now. But as I said, you have to create a PDF from it, unless of course you're linking it. I think it does link to Google Sheets now, but it won't link to Excel or CSV. The next one I wanted to show you is this. So this could be used as a tool for planning for teachers, but actually I think more powerfully, you give this or share this with students. Use the share button. If you're all inside the same Google workspace, they can then access this particular document. What I've done here is I've uploaded, or linked rather, it's not really uploading, I've just linked, it's read the transcript. I've linked these YouTube videos into this notebook, and this is all biology revision, cell biology revision. So I literally just went onto Google, onto YouTube, and I just found a course, and I just went in here, look, and again, I just kind of go here, add, YouTube, and I've just pasted the YouTube URL, and it's read that YouTube URL. So what I have now, even if I do nothing else, and you give this to the students along with the course, they then have a tool which they can just talk to, which will help them through the course. So that, just on its own, could be potentially quite useful. But it's when you start looking at what's over here on the right that it starts to become really useful. And Google people, have you started to use these tools with your students? In what ways are they using the studio?
We're on a very early stages of rolling out with pupils, because it's only recently become available and is now integrated through Google Classroom as well. So teachers are starting to use particularly the video overviews for revision purposes, and the flashcards have been really well received. We use them as staff as well.
Yes.
So we've created, for example, a safeguarding notebook LM, which generates scenarios for training and also provides flashcards that we easily use, rather than we go, there's the same scenario we used last year kind of thing. Actually, it just, like you've got there with the YouTube video, it basically says take all of these sources and create a new, unique version every time. Give the rationale, give the points to consider. So people are starting to do the same thing. Our modern language departments have taken previous past papers into Notebook LM and have then asked it to generate new, unique mock exam questions.
Yeah.
So that there isn't the whole, we did paper 1 2015, so let's revise 2015 paper 3.
Yeah.
It's likely to be the same, and they've been finding that really helpful, particularly with the generation of the different questions for the different skills as well.
That's great. No, I we were just talking just a second ago with Tom about the way in which we can start to create queryable knowledge bases of our documents. So, for example, like you've just done with safeguarding, but you could potentially put your school policies into a notebook, and then that becomes the ultimate source of truth for querying. And it does do. And remember, because you can actually reference when it generates its response, you can tap on the little number, you can check back into the document, so you can just double check. That's the other quite really powerful thing about Notebook. It really does. And again, I can never say at the moment, maybe in a year's time, I will be able to confidently say it eliminates, but it massively reduces the chances of it actually pulling from stuff that doesn't exist. So you can definitely use that in quite a powerful way. It literally becomes your policy source of truth.
We got some international students on our registers that struggle with English, so the podcasting element of this is particularly useful.
In their language.
So they move it into Google Translate and it's translated.
You don't need to do that anymore. So I'll show you. You can do it from inside of Notebook LM. It works with over 50 world languages now. Any second people who don't have English as their first language? I can't speak this morning. Anyone who has fluent in another language in this room? What language? Arabic. Okay. I'm going to do this in the background while I show you the next thing. So I'll choose the video overview, but I'll change the settings first. Settings, output language. Now, Arabic will be written in Arabic. So I'll see if I can. I did live in Bahrain for a while, so I'll see if I can find Arabic. It's one of these. Is it that one?
Yeah.
This one or this one?
No.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
One above.
This one above? Okay. So I've changed the default language to Arabic now. Save. And I'm just going to tap video overview. No, I'll tap audio overview because it will actually work slightly quicker. And what it will do now, in the background, while I'm doing the next thing, it will now generate an audio overview in Arabic.
Darren, sorry, just to interrupt quickly on the policy piece as well. I just wanted to share a real-world example.
Yeah, go for it.
What you're saying. So we've also put things like the expenses policy, etc., into Notebook LM and put it onto chat. So that's the license version. To put it onto chat mode, and then it's really, really helpful for staff to just ask, how many miles do I have to travel before I can hire a car, etc. So
brilliant.
That's practical things.
That's such a great use for it.
And we can have more time to be more human in the loop, like you were saying earlier, then, because some of these more mundane things are covered through these technologies. So just wanted to sort of add that in as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually just about to show this now, because this is actually a really interesting feature. So when it was first released, I thought, a bit gimmicky, but I'm hearing more and more people using it really well. So what I've done here is I've hit audio overview, and you can actually see here that cell biology specialization. If I just open it up, sorry, this one here, look. There we are. Quiet. So it's a little bit quiet, and I can't see how I can actually change there we are, there it is. Yeah, that should work better. Let's see if that works. Yeah. So it's basically what it's done is it's done a podcast version, but you can actually join into that version now. So if I just choose where it says interactive here, look, I can now have a conversation with these two AI. So it's two AI podcast hosts, and I can have a conversation with those hosts. So has anyone else done? So you've used this for really interesting ways. Anyone else used this podcast? How have you used the interactive feature?
So we used it for. So I work completely different. I work for a sports coaching company.
All right.
And there's just certain things like that coaches need to be aware of, and we're just looking different ways of making it stick. So, for example, our holiday childcare is Ofsted registered, so we used it as a way of looking at the certain thing, Ofsted compliance, and what sort of things they were looking for, creating a podcast linked with that. So that they could listen to it as opposed to read questions. Some of the things we were doing was being a bit of like white noise. So we're just looking at different ways of doing it, of making it sink in.
I think that's where it's quite useful because, again, if you've got a lot of information, going back to what we were saying about taking on information and learning, being able to create that shorter podcast, I think could potentially really be helpful to students who really would struggle to read large amounts of information. But if I hit the interactive, where it says interactive here, look, just kind of add notes slightly in the way here. Let's see if I make that a bit smaller. There we are. If I just hit interactive here, and then I can hit the play button, I can now join into the conversation with AI. So it's 2 AI voices, and I can just have a conversation with it. So just hit play. It will start the podcast again. And then I hit join. Yeah, so look, I'm teaching biology GCSE for the first time, really struggling to kind of understand the best way of approaching teaching cell biology. Give me some ideas as to how I might be able to introduce it in a sort of an interesting way. So you can just literally have a real-time conversation. Quite a big unlock in many ways. So I know some SEN schools, really good example. So one particular SEN school in Norfolk, actually, who have started to use this by uploading, they're a Google school, so they have the security of uploading information on one student and then using it with their therapists, almost like a supervision, where they can talk about the particular student with the AI who's got all of the data, the SALT and the OT reports and the behaviour logs and the academic progress and the behaviour, the data and the attendance data and the EHCP and the annual report and just literally everything. And they stick it into a notebook and they start the podcast and they just talk to it. And it's actually really interesting unlock. They even said that they'd started to consider using it for trainees, where actually you can present the student with like a typical presentation of an autistic student, or maybe someone with sort of profound learning needs, maybe ADHD or whatever, and actually they can kind of unpick almost a bit like sort of trying to work out, like a detective trying to work out what the underlying sort of concerns are. So it does have a huge amount of potential beyond the slightly gimmicky initial, it's just chatting with a podcast host. I think there is a lot of potential. But I think your idea of being able to talk about particular policy details or particular operational areas, I think I'd not really thought about that. I think it's a really interesting idea. So I think it does have potential. Just as something, think of it like having a real-time conversation with a data set, which is basically what you're doing with this tool. Yeah, Darren.
We're in the process of testing, talking during the break, of taking it to the next level. So we've created a safeguarding and an inclusion Ofsted Inspector Notebook LM chat with the basis taking the inspection framework and all the training materials and policies and everything else, and basically training that through customizing the chat to behave as an inspector. Nice. Ask the person to introduce themselves, choose 5 or 6 questions from the training material, and then at the end of that, provide them with feedback on their answers and a projected judgment. So that SLT can practice those conversations in their own time, because that's what they like to do.
You can actually see the little, you can see the little pencil icon top right in some of these cards. If you tap on it, what it does is it gives you the ability to personalise. So straight away it gives you automated behaviours. So you can do the deep dive, which is the one that it will all say, welcome to the deep dive. Slightly annoying. But it will also give you some different alternatives. For example, you can turn up debates and you can join in much more of a sort of a debate format. But it also gives you the option of putting in actually specific instructions. So you can kind of make it like act in a certain way, but you can also be much more specific. You can also ask it to make it longer or shorter, which is really good because sometimes it can go on a bit.
Take it they're downloadable, so they're just like
yeah. So exactly right. So once I do this look, and I just sort of open up here, and I can just tap on here, and I can type download. It just downloads as an MP3. So you can even if your kids don't have access to this tool, you can still download those. So I know some schools who are doing like a series of videos, a series of audios on specific aspects of the syllabus. So they've literally broken cell biology down into 5 different component parts, and they've done like a 6 or 7 minute audio on each of those units. So you can actually specify in the instructions, only focus on the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. And it will do that pretty faithfully.
So, sorry, just to be clear, it doesn't have to be a video to be the interactive. You could do that with the documents that you uploaded before and have those kind of conversations.
Yeah, exactly right. So the interactive feature in Notebook LM only works with this audio function. The other one is what was just mentioned is the video overview. This is quite new. Where is it down here?
Did you say a minute ago that you can't have anything like privileged in if you're not using the right version of this, or is this one where you use it?
So you will need, if the way to think about it is if you're authorizing into Google Notebook LM using your school credentials, so it's inside of your school tenancy, then what you upload in here stays on your school Google Drive. If it's your Gmail account, it's in your home personal Google Drive. That's just the way to remember it. So if you put in student data, you need to anonymize that data because it's just numbers.
But can anyone else access it?
No. Only if you hit share.
Yeah.
Basically each notebook instance is your personal instance. But it's only if you hit share. It works exactly the same way as Google. There you go, look. You just can share it in exactly the same way you would any other Google document. When you create a Google document, it's yours. You can share it with your broader work if you want to. But no, that's personal to you. Video or overview works as a video slideshow. Full screen. You will notice straight away it's British. Weird glitch. It's a weird glitch because the first slide, introduction's British English, which is quite nice, friendly voice, then it goes to American English. Now, I have no problem with America at all. Just want to qualify that. I have a big problem with the fact that it works in more than 50 world languages, but will only actually output in American English. Why can we not have British English? This, what you just hear, is a weird glitch because immediately the next slide starts and it becomes American. AI, kind of weird. I'm hoping that I'm not kidding. You can have French, Canadian French, and there's another French. I can't remember what it was. You can have Spanish, Latin American Spanish, Mexican Spanish, but you can only have American English.
How good are those accents, though?
Very good. So I mean, if you listen to the
native Canadian French speaker.
I've not. Oh well, we'll listen to Arabic in a minute, and you will be able to tell me how authentic the Arabic is. I've done this not that many times, half a dozen times. Every single time I've done this, the native speaker's gone, it's actually really good. So, but yeah, no, I wouldn't know because I'm British. I mean, Russian. I'm okay with Russian because my family's all bilingual Russian, and I'm sitting there surrounded with Russian. So my wife's Latvian, my kid's bilingual. But so I know Russian I can do, no other language. French I'm okay. I'll just move on. Listen. So, but accent aside, again, you could specify. So you could do a slideshow on cell biology, difference between prokaryotes, and you could do, only focus on, give me the top 5 tips that I need to maximise the success in my exam. You could create this and download it as an MP4 file. There we go. It's downloaded as an MP4. Or better, get students to have one of these so they can create their own. They can create their own revision videos. Very, very powerful tool.
Can you play it without the? Can you get it to create without the audio?
No. Not that I've managed. So no, it will always give you the audio. You're actually better, wouldn't it? But to have that option.
As a teacher, as an end user, that might be useful.
Right, let's listen to the Arabic podcast. Any other Arabic speakers here? It's all on you. What you saying?
It's Egyptian dialect.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, although you clicked on the one which is supposed to be classic Arabic.
That's interesting.
It is Egyptian dialect.
Egyptian dialect. But is it understandable for you as an Arabic speaker? Or is
Yes,
it,
yes,
it is.
yes.
But just like the intonation
Just
and
like Lebanese one or
so it's more Levant than
yes,
classic.
all of them. Iraqi one is different, but
Okay, that's interesting. But it does. But if you have from now on, if I put it here, the output will be written in Arabic as well. So it's not just audio; it's also the written text as well. And if I did a video, the video text would be in Arabic. So it will work multimodally across all of these different tools. The other ones you've got things like this. Look, so I can create a mind map of the content. This simply can only be used by the end user. Try and download it. It's too small. I mean, it literally gives you a minute. It would literally give you a PDF, but the whole exploded mind map, and it's impossible to read. So that is absolutely only a tool that you would, if the students had access to a notebook, they'd have access to this. But then, as you guys were just saying, things like flashcards as well. So it will take flashcards from the content, and then the last one was quizzes. So it will also do quizzes as well, multiple choice quizzes. Look, it's not, if I'm honest, it's not changing the world of education, but it's a tool that if you were to give this to students, and they can start generating their own banks of quizzes and their own banks and their own flashcards and their own mind maps. Actually, a really, really powerful tool. Really powerful tool, and it just works, like that. The user interface is quite attractive. It's quite nice and clean. It's very Google, very clean and simple. But I do think it's potentially very useful tool because it's working across those world languages for your learners or maybe their parents. So another example is you might, if you've got you have a very multilingual campus, your learners are probably, my guess is they'll have a good enough English, but their parents might not. And I've worked internationally most of my career, and I can guarantee we spend so much time translating documents, so much time and money translating important documents. You don't need to do that anymore. You can just stick them into a notebook LM, and it will just print out a version, or you can do the podcasts, or you can do the videos, or whatever, the quizzes if you want to, of the whatever you put in here for your parents.
Will it do short answers, short question and answers?
At the moment, it only does multiple choice. Yeah, I think unless it's changed, it may have changed. Let's try it. Let's have a look. I'll click on here. I may be completely wrong. Oh no. So it's at the moment it's only giving me the number of questions or the level of difficulty. But my guess, because Google are moving so fast, that the next thing that will appear here when I tap on that button, it will be multiple choice, short answer. That's probably going to come next. But yeah, at the moment it's just multiple choice, an MCQ.
Can you edit these outputs? So like with I know you said the mind map, you don't use the big letters, but can you use that? Because like with the scheme of work, you could take that out and you could put it in Word.
Nothing from in here is editable unless you actually export it. So if I click on reports here, it will generate a study guide, for example. But once that study guide is generated, that would need to be exported. And that's, for me, is the one, I'd say failing. I mean, it's a bit mean, it's harsh to say, because it's still completely free, and it's kind of mind-blowing. But for me, the next thing would be, it's going to generate, and I'm going to be able to do stuff inside of it. It will remember what I've done. At the moment, it's like, it spits stuff out, and then I need to pull it off to do stuff with it.
But you can, so you could export those in a way that wasn't in a PDF that you could then edit.
Yeah, so you can just, the report, for example, you could just literally copy it and paste it into a Word document to work with. Yeah.
So you can't adapt it via the prompt chat at the bottom?
Yeah, I mean, you can, no, so this, if you like, the studio feature separate from this.
Right.
These work, so you would literally have to take that out and put it in here and work with it. So that it's still a little bit manual-ish.
Okay,
It's a bit, it is a bit clunky, but then all I am is a bit clunky right now.
Yeah.
But then where it is now compared to 2.5, there's no way, I remember when we had ChatGPT, there's no way I would have thought I'd been able to have a real-time conversation with AI. I would have thought that was just ridiculous. And I remember when I first saw this, it was April of last year, so this was the real-time voice thing that I showed you was actually shown, demonstrated for the first time April last year at Google's I/O conference. They have an annual conference, and the whole audience were like, what did we just witness? And now we're like, yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. So I think our expectations change, and I think we need to remind ourselves of just how quickly this stuff has come on and how much it's developing. But I would highly recommend it. I mean, it sounds like you guys have already kind of put Notebook LM really at the centre of your strategy. I think that's really sensible, because right now it's probably the best tool. One other tool I want to show you, though, there are several, but the other Google tool that I'm quite keen to show you is this one. So this is Google Gemini. I hasten, and I'll repeat what I just said earlier, I'm not on commission. So I wish I was. I'm not on commission. Google, I get nothing from Google at all. In fact, I get nothing from any of these platforms that I promote, because, I just think they're good. So this one, you know this, so I won't patronise you to sort of explain it to you, but it works like ChatGPT. It's pretty much identical, but it has some features which ChatGPT simply doesn't have. And one of the features I've just started to explore, and you might think Storybook, you can see on the left here, if I just click Explore Gems, you can see Explore Gems, you've got options, one of them is Storybook. You might think Storybook is only for little, small children, but you can actually have quite a lot of fun with it, generating learning materials. So we'll do this one together. So I'll just tap on Storybook. Can someone give me a topic, and then that they might want to create a learning, any topic at all? Let's try and make it quite narrow. Maybe something you're teaching, or maybe something that your students are learning on at the moment. Anything at all.
Coastal erosion.
Coastal erosion. Okay. So I'm going to say a story about coastal erosion. What visual style should we do it in terms of the illustrations?
Tintin books.
All right, okay. Now that's interesting. It won't, if I put that in, it will say, I'm sorry, that's copyright, and we won't, just kind of slightly ironic and hypocritical. So we need to specify general style as opposed to a specific kind of name style. So anything that's kind of
Anime.
Graphic novel.
Graphic novel, okay. Okay, it won't give me a graphic novel because it will give me the images and the story separately. For what age group?
Let's go year 8.
Year 8. I'm going to say in the UK because we want it to have UK. So what it will do, and what we'll come back to, because it will take a minute or two to do, it's now going to generate a storybook. And I'll show you just while we're waiting some other examples. I got it to do this story last week, I think it was. So this was for year 8, and this was for, no, it was actually for year 6, sorry. This was for the Blitz, that's part of history. And you can see here, look, it generates the story with the text. and actually it's quite the writing's quite clean, it's quite crisp. It has that kind of sort of Ladybird book style to it, which honestly even adults quite like. We do. I mean, I remember doing, obviously not with AI, because this was way back in the day, but I remember doing work with sixth formers where we would get them to learn about narrative theory through a children's book. So they learned, so I was teaching film studies, and they learned about narrative theory in film through a particular children's book. They loved it. They loved engaging with a picture book for children, learning about narrative theory. So actually, I wouldn't say we should completely avoid children's books for older kids. But you can see here, look, what you notice though is that it has persistent characters from image to image. That's the big unlock, and that's only been in the last few months. We can see the boy here, and it's the same boy all the way through, and the same dad. There, all the way. Literally, it's kept that persistence all the way through. I mean, you can just see maybe his face is slightly different, but basically the basics are the same. But quite nice and graphically quite nice. But you can also make an audiobook of it, so you can listen to it as well. Again, it will actually, interestingly, also do it in a lower male voice as well. So not just. Yes, thank you very much. Quite funny. Yeah, terrifying. But you know, we can do some potentially quite interesting stuff with it. So I did another one. I just generated this yesterday actually on cell biology. Now, yeah, it has worked. It's worked. Yeah, there we are. So I did this one for cell biology in the style of a manga comic. So we can start thinking, well, actually, this could be quite useful as a tool for generating just these storybooks to kind of, maybe for our more reluctant learners, maybe who need a slightly different approach to teaching concepts, could be quite a good one. Let me see whether my little storybook on coastal erosion has been generated. There it is. Okay, so Dunwich Edge, nice, quite stylish. There we are. My great-grandmother used to say, the sea gives and the sea takes. Here in Dunwich, we know what that means. This is my home, Leo. The new kid from London just thinks it's a lot of empty space. Quite like that. It's quite an interesting introduction. And you can see that has given you that kind of delineated sort of graphic novel style. So you could do work with this. You could generate questions on it. You could generate other resources around the story. But you can see graphically really quite interesting. It's really interesting. So there we go. So that is.
Did you give it a prompt that made it take the point about everybody likes children's storybooks in the same way that everybody likes stickers? Doesn't matter where it's like. Did you give it a different prompt that made it look less childlike?
No. Right now,
people pretend they don't like storybooks.
This has been out for. It's quite interesting. You've got paid sort of. This at the moment only gives you this format. My guess, again, going back to what we were just saying about Google, is almost certainly there will be another version, which will enable you to choose the style of the output. And at that point, I think we will see maybe proper graphic novel format where we do actually get it's looking like a graphic novel. At the moment, it just has that sort of Ladybird book feel to it. But again, you might find it useful, you may not. But I think it is a tool that I would recommend you taking a look at, because I just think it's quite useful.
Some data issues with it, but could you upload a photo of someone and get it to replicate that person into?
Yeah, I'm deeply nervous about doing that. I'm not sure whether you would work with this. I'm not sure whether you could
think it was possible.
The student's image. But it's possible, but I probably wouldn't. Okay. We've got about 20 more minutes. I want to show you just one or two more content creation ideas, and then we'll break for lunch. And then after lunch, I'm going to give you just another sort of a handful of ideas, but then I want to give you some time to actually play and explore and then ask questions at the end. So it's not just me sort of talking at you for the whole day, which probably is, yeah, you need time to play. I want to go to actually the point on SEN. I want to pick up on the point on SEN because I'm quite keen to show you this. Go back to this tool, AI Studio. So, and again, you might want to do this yourself so you might want to open up AI Studio. With all of this, if you want to play along while I'm doing it, please do. I'm in AI Studio, and when you go into AI Studio, you need to tap on the little icon top right, and you need to make sure that you've chosen this Nano Banana. Ridiculous name, but that's what they call it. The official name is Gemini 2. Flash Image. The reason they called it Nano Banana is they released it as what's called a cloak. In other words, they released Nano Banana, and no one knew who the developer was, and they were for testing. AI companies often do that. They'll release a model, and you'll have no idea who actually has released it, and they'll put a name, a cloaked name, and their cloaked name was Nano Banana, and it became so popular they kept the name. So just make sure that Nano Banana is selected here, not 2.5 Pro, which is the best model generally, but actually for what we wanted to do, we're going to click Nano Banana. You can actually see at the price here, you can ignore that, because inside of this platform it's free. That price is if you actually bring it into your own platform to use inside of your own platform. So if you create your own chatbot and you wanted to generate images, then that's what it will cost, but inside of here it's free. So what I want to do is I want to show you how you can use this to create social stories. Social stories are quite important, and we use them a lot. And it's actually extremely powerful. You'll see the prompt, and I want to explain the prompt to you first. So let me just find it. It's basically the prompt, the title is Generate Bespoke Social Stories for SEN. I want to explain this prompt to you because it's something that I do quite a lot, and I think it's quite a big unlock. This prompt will write the prompts for you to generate the social stories. So in other words, this is a prompt writing prompt. So you can actually see here that write a sequence of 6 to 8 clear, step-by-step text image prompts to teach a simple everyday routine, for example, getting ready to go outside, for students with autism. Just using autism as the classic use case for social story. Each prompt should, like before, give it some instructions. But each step, now I've told it how I wanted to output the prompt. This is really helpful. If you haven't done this before, I highly recommend it, particularly with these more advanced models. Give it an example of how you want it to output. Please output like this: the image number, the title, the prompt, and then ask the user what age group, etc., etc. But I'm basically going to ask it to generate a series or a sequence of prompts. Each one of those prompts I then put back into the AI that generates the image. Okay? So you don't actually need to change this prompt at all. You just grab it and paste it into Nano Banana. And what it will do is it will say, I can absolutely help you with that. Which everyday routine? So let's do it together. Can someone, maybe it's you're in SEN, what might be an everyday routine that you might want to have a social story for?
Lunchtime, perhaps?
Lunchtime routine?
Yeah.
What, in the canteen?
Yeah.
Okay, lunchtime routine in the canteen. What age group?
Year 7.
Year 7 students, let's say UK setting. Now then, character gender, male, female, doesn't really matter, let's say female. Image style. Now, I know of some who have done these social stories, so it'd be for students who love Peppa Pig, or students who love superheroes, or students who love Disney's Pixar movies. So if we were to say that, so say superhero style, and then use widget, or What do you use any particular package to create social stories, or does anyone use any particular package for social stories? Lots of people use Widget as an example.
Yes.
Okay, I'll just say Widget. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. So Widget is just a way of, it's just like a library of images for social stories. So I've got here, lunchtime routine in the canteen, Year 7 students, UK setting, female but superhero style, and using Widget icons. And what it will do is it's now given me, there we are, look, it's now given me a sequence of prompts. And I literally just do this, look. I just copy it, I paste it back in, and because I'm in the image generating mode, you can even see here, look, it's kind of given me the idea as to how it might look. Now it's given me, there we are. So it's given me the first image, which I can just show. My goal is lunchtime, superhero, and then I will take the second image. And what we now have with this is we have persistence across image style. It's so fast now. Even now, I mean, even since last week, it's like, wow, it's just suddenly so much faster. We're obviously doing a lot of work in the background. Go. And so on and so forth. It will take you through. And you can do it with any style, you can do it with any subject, and it will keep that persistence throughout the sequence. I've shown you that just for social stories, but you can imagine doing it for so many different things. There are so many different ways that you can use this tool. Another example is you can create icons for, like, say, a chemistry paper. Quite hard to do, but actually you can now create line drawings for chemistry papers. This is one of the first tools that will actually do graphics pretty well. It's a pretty effective tool for doing graphic design. And again, it's inside of Google AI Studio. It's completely free. And you can just download it. There we are, just download it in the same way that you would download any other tool. You'll notice it has the little icon here at the bottom. So you can see that little diamond. That's it's AI watermark. So just that little diamond at the bottom. That's Gemini's AI watermark. So you can see it's been generated by AI. Of course, you can just take it into any package and get rid of that. We know that. AI watermarks are nonsense. It's so easy to get rid of them. I mean, anyone who thinks they could, they've even worked out with Sora 2, because there's a Sora 2 little icon that says, you can just get rid of it. And there are platforms online where you can just upload your Sora video, just removes the watermark. So AI watermarking, forget about it. It's just not worth considering. It doesn't really matter for this, because you've got, the ability to create a full end-to-end social story using Nano Banana. This will also work inside of ChatGPT, just so you know that. But I think at the moment, this Google tool just has the edge in terms of the actual output quality of the AI generation. Okay. So that was social stories. We're quite keen to sort of make this very bespoke to you. So, for example, we're just chatting about presentations and presentation tools, and so I'm going to start by showing you some options for AI for presentations. So I'll start with that. But if there's anything else that you think, I've heard of such and such, and I'm really keen to explore that further, then do let me know, because it might be, if you're thinking about it, probably everyone else is thinking about it as well. So, yeah, I'm just quite keen just to get some initial feedback on this morning, anything that you picked up on, anything that you want to talk about, and then anything that you might want me to focus on into the afternoon session. Because we've got a couple of hours, two and a bit hours now, 2.25 hours. So we've got plenty of time. So I want to make sure it's super, super valuable to you all. Yes, Darren.
I'll share one. Off the back of the Notebook LM this morning, we looked quite a lot, obviously, at the audio and the video overviews and the fact that you could customise those, but it's not immediately obvious to anybody who's not seen it before. You can also customise the chat itself. So the chat function that runs down the middle, you've got the option to customise that. And that
top
gives
right here, by the way. So you know up here, look.
So one of the things we found playing around with it to try and get it to act as a chat is you can turn it into a learning guide and it will use a Socratic approach, or you can use the custom. We started playing around with that, but you can see there's a 500 character limit on that. So the way my colleague Joe, who's upstairs, has hacked around that is he got Gemini to write a very detailed prompt put that into the sources as a block and told in that 500 characters, only follow the guidance in this document. Really good output.
So that is what we call context engineering. This is the biggest unlock for the next step in us using particularly what we call agentic AI, or AI that does different things within the chat. You can actually, those of you who remember back in the days, macros, any macro users? Yeah. It's like an AI version of a macro. It's like a recorded action, and you can actually put these into our AIs so it will behave in certain different ways. And you can do that by using something called context engineering. And essentially, your main prompts, you're telling it to go and read other stuff. So it's pulling forward. That's actually, I've never really thought about that. That's actually a really good idea. So you're getting this prompt in here to specifically reference something here and pull that information through to essentially base its behaviour on the document.
Yeah.
That's next level ninja AI behaviour. I love that. I'll remember that one because I've not really thought about that. So yeah, you can go in here, look top right into there. This is say back in Notebook, by the way. Tap on there, and you can actually change the behaviour of what's going on in the middle here as well. I don't know whether that's available for all free users. It will be, but I know they were rolling it out. But certainly, if you're in a school account, you'll see. If you don't see this, it's because you're in a free version and it's not been rolled out to you yet. But I think most people have access to this now. Okay. Anything else? Any other feedback? Genuinely positive, negative? I'm a big boy. I can take it. Anything that you know? I know that we had a bit of a reaction to music. Yeah, I get it totally. I fully understand that. I have a visceral reaction in the same way to these AI videos and the way that some people don't. But is there anything else that you want to sort of raise before we carry on? Now's the chance.
There is.
Yes.
Someone asked me at lunch about whether there was any research that I was referencing in terms of the neuroscience. So Durham University have this month launched a research centre to look at the impact of AI and algorithms on society more generally, which will include kind of mental health and psychology stuff. So if you want to look into that more, it's Durham Uni.
The other ones, just to kind of follow up on that. So if you look at the work that National Literacy Trust have done, they've done some really good research work into the impact of AI on literacy, young people. And Oxford University Press will tomorrow, I had a sneak preview, it's actually really good. Well, I've also released some research work that they've been doing, Oxford have been doing into the impact of AI on learning. So NLT, but also Oxford University Press. The OUP will be released tomorrow, but it's worth looking at. It'll be, I will, they've asked me tomorrow to actually post it onto my LinkedIn feed. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see it because I'll post it. It's good. It's 9 or 10 pages. It's very, very easy to read, but it gives you quite a lot of information as to the state of AI in education at the moment. It's quite an in-depth study they've been doing. We can just now, we're 3 years into AI, ChatGPT, roughly. We're just getting into the, not quite properly longitudinal studies, but we've got 3 years worth of data. So we can actually see whether this stuff is having an impact positively or negatively, which is good to know. Good to know that we're finally getting some data. It's been very hard. People have asked me that question, like, I'm not really sure because it's still so young. But we're going to start to see some more research coming out. Okay, so I want to just talk about a few examples that you can now use for presentations. And in this first one, I'm guessing a few of you will have already heard of. But I know from speaking to a few people at lunch, you haven't. So I want to show it to you because I really like it. It's a really great tool. This is Gamma. Just out of interest, who's already used this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Okay, fine. So about a third of the quarter of the room. Gamma.app. Gamma.app. Free tool. Enables you to create presentations. But it does more than that, because actually it also enables you to create microsites from these presentations. So anything you create as a presentation, you can then turn into a website, all completely for free. When you first sign up to Gamma, and again, the only reason I'm going to recommend this If you've got someone on your team who have Gamma, sign up using their referral link. But if you don't, sign up using mine. Not because I need the AI, because I don't. Because I have 38,500 AI credits. Probably don't need any more. But if you sign up using my link on the sheet that I've given you, then you'll get an extra AI for free. And then if you do this, watch, this is a good hack. Tap on it once you've signed in, tap on your credits top right, tap on refer a friend, copy that referral link and share it with everyone on your team. And then when they sign up to Gamma, if you want to use it, of course, I'm assuming if you don't, obviously don't, but if you want to use it, copy your link with everybody else. Whenever anyone else signs up using your referral link, you get AI for free. You can use Gamma as much as you like manually. Just click New Gamma, and it works just like PowerPoint in terms of actually assembling the document. But what I want to show you is how easy it is to create really quite attractive documents using AI, using Gamma. And you need credits for that, hence wanting extra free AI from people, because that enables you to create more presentations. So if I just click Create New.
Oh, quickly, credits. First time I've heard anything about credits.
Yeah.
What is it?
So basically,
the credit.
When you first sign up to Gamma, you get 200 credits. Every time you create an AI presentation, you use 40 of them. Right. So it gives you 5 free AI. Just 5 free AI. But also, if you edit with AI inside of a document, every time you edit, it uses 5. So the way to kind of think about it is, if you get someone to sign up using your referral link, you automatically get another 5 free presentations you can do, and 5. So that's why quite a few companies do this. It's quite clever, actually, because basically it's kind of a form of viral marketing. Because if I've signed up and I share my link and someone signs up, they start using it, then I also benefit from that person signing up. So it's logic. It's good marketing sense. But as I said, even if you run out of credits, you can hit this New Gamma, and you can just create presentations inside of here manually. So you can do that as well. So if you run out of credits, it's not like it stops being useful. It's just you can't do what I'm about to show you, because you need the AI in order to actually automatically generate the presentation. So I'm going to click Create New. You've got some options. You can paste in some text. You can basically just prompt it, just generate a presentation from a prompt. Give me a presentation about cell biology. Or you can import a file. That also includes PowerPoints. So you can import a PowerPoint and jazz it up if you like. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab a document. My document is just a Word document on cells. That's it. So it's just Word. There's nothing to it. So I'm going to paste it in. Copy it. I'm going to paste it in. The reason I want to do this is because I want to make sure that the formatting's correct before I continue. So you can see there that I just want to double check, because actually if the formatting's correct, then it's more likely to produce, and I can edit it inside of here, I can change it, I can make sure that it kind of works from a formatting perspective in here. It just means that it's more likely to create the right sort of shape of presentation. You can add some notes and it can flesh it out. You can add a lot of detail and you can summarize it, or you can keep it the same. And I'm going to keep it the same, so I want to preserve this text. So when the AI generates the response, it's not going to hugely edit this. It's going to keep it pretty much the same. Every now it might change 1 or 2 words, but not till you think, well, it's completely different. It's just it's going to keep it pretty much the same. So I choose configure the prompt. Now, you have some options here on the left. You want to choose UK English. It will first of all default to US English. So you want to choose UK, or you could choose any one of a number of languages, because it obviously, like a notebook LM, it will output in several different languages. You can choose a theme. So I can just choose go to view more. I can choose a standard theme. So I might just choose, because it's kind of cell biology, I might choose something kind of green. There we are. And select the theme. Now the one I would suggest you change, when you first open this up, it will almost certainly default to AI images. And there are a couple of reasons why I would suggest you change those. Reason number one, if it's science, AI just doesn't do it very well. I mean, you look at a picture of a cell and you think, oh, it looks like a cell, but if you're a scientist, you look at it and you think, that's just made up. So I would strongly advise against using AI-generated images for any learning content, because it just doesn't do a very good job. The other reason is, there are enough images in the world. We probably don't need AI generating any more right now. So I tend to avoid generating images. It also uses a lot more energy and water, much less than it used to, but it still uses energy and water. So I would suggest that you change this. I tend to suggest stock images, but also you can choose web images. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to search online, it's going to pull through images from a free image library, and it's going to drop them into your presentation. So, but it's not going to generate new images, which I just think is a better idea. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to change anything else. I'm going to just check to make sure that the cards, so each of the sections looks right, and then I click generate. And so what it will do is it will now move into AI mode, and it will generate the presentation. And any images that you see, you will be able to change. So you can edit anything inside of it. Once it's generated, you can edit anything that's inside of it. And again, even though I asked for UK English, it still has actually, I can see one or two Z's creeping in. So you can change that very easily. Just edit it like this. But if I want to change an image here, I can just tap on the image. I can tap on edit, and I can just choose a different image if I wanted to. I might just choose that one. Get the idea. So you can now create, and it's quite attractive. You can bring in any images as well you want to. That one you might think, well, that doesn't really work for me, so I might just tap on there. Bring in a different one here. Look, get the idea. This works like a normal presentation. So I just tap on present, and that will just work as a normal presentation would, which is fine. But I actually think it could be a lot more powerful when you're using it to generate resources. Because what I can do now is I can turn it into a website, and I can just share the URL with my students and just generate a website from that URL. So I can just click on here where you can see share. So I just choose share here. And you have some options. The first option you'll notice is you have an export tab. And that enables you to export to PDF, or your Google Slides, or as images. So you can, if you wanted to, just choose export to PowerPoint. And what happens is it just basically generates a static image of each of these. So there's no animation or anything, it just creates a static image. There we are. There we go. So that's my PowerPoint.
You amend that now in PowerPoint?
No, once it's there. Oh, no, you can? Oh, now that's interesting. You didn't used to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. Good job, Gamma, because it used to be that was just literally like they literally just took like a screenshot. Now you can. So there we are. Look, you can now change anything inside. That's actually really helpful, because that was the one thing I thought, you can't do anything with it, but now you can. It's literally generated me some really attractive PowerPoint slides.
Can you in Gamma do a certain theme? So if you have like a corporate theme?
Yes, you can. Let me show you that. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Thank you. You can, inside of your settings here, account settings, you can go into, no, it's not account settings, where is it? Going back to the beginning. Let's go into, now it keeps changing.
Themes.
Set themes, there we are. Thank you, there we are. You can create a new theme, and that new theme, you can upload your font, you can specify your fonts, your corporate colours, and also a logo. So I've got one here for my my company somewhere. This one, can't remember it. Compass Education. There we are. Yeah. So this is my Compass Education one, and you can see here that I've uploaded my Compass logo, and it will cover it, be branded all the way through. So yes, and that's available for free. If you don't have to pay for that. That's actually just part of it. So yes, there is the ability to
the AI function to improve your current.
No. So let me just go back into my. Let me go back in here. Look. You can anywhere there. You can click on here. You can go card styling. You can change the color. You can add images in. anywhere you want. You can probably bring in an image. You just go in here, look, and you can just say, I want to change the layout here, and I want to go in here, and I want to bring in an image. I can go in here and I can say I want web images, and I want to go in by cells. So no, you can.
Sorry, it's if you had your own PowerPoint already, like your own, could you then give it to it?
Yes.
And say basically make this better.
So you can upload it. So if you go back to the beginning here, look, and go into create new, import file, import from URL. You can import a PowerPoint, and it will jazz it up. Yeah. Will it work? Can you get it to minutely? Probably not. It will take everything that you've uploaded and it will reformat it in Gamma style. But where I think it's also potentially quite powerful, go back to the home here, don't open this up, so I can create a website from it. Okay. Now this website can have hyperlinks, buttons, embedded features. This is where Gamma has its bit of a superpower. Click share, click publish to site. I need to convert it from a presentation to a website. And then once I've done that, I can just publish it online. Now, I have a website. Visit site. So this is now a web page. That URL here, you can share that with your students, and it's just freely available. It's not indexed, so you can't search for it on Google, but it's a freely open. You don't have to log in. You don't have to register. This is just a web page, freely open web page. But you can start doing some quite fun things. So if I go back to YouTube, and you'll be able to see that I look at, what am I looking at? There we are, look, golf and AI. That's my life. And if I go cell biology, on darts, bizarrely, I've got quite interested in darts. Why? Since Luke Littler came, I just think it's amazing. So if I'll just click on here, look, and I just grab my link for my YouTube video, and I go into my Gamma, and I click here, look, you can see on the right there's this little media icon. Just tap on my media icon, tap on YouTube videos, and there's my video, okay? And now if I publish it, the nice thing about this is it strips out the adverts. So when I go to the site here, it will show the video. So you can embed, you can do all sorts of things that you'll once you start playing with it, you think that's masses of stuff you can do. You can bring in different charts. That's brand new, by the way. I'm seeing that for the first time. Literally, well, that's actually really cool. You can bring in different charts. You can bring in graphs. You can bring in, you can embed stuff. So you can embed other Gamma. You can embed Gamma inside a Gamma. That's meta. You can embed forms. There's loads of stuff you can do. You can embed a Google form inside of a Gamma. There's just lots you can do with Gamma. It's actually very, very versatile. I've been working with these guys, again, no commission. I should speak to the founder about this. Since they were first released, and I became a very early Gambassador. It's ridiculous, but there we are. That's what they call it, a Gambassador. But mind you, any Canvassadors here? There we are, you see, so they're not the only ones. Canva also has their own ambassador program. And they are fast moving towards being a unicorn. So this company will very close to achieving $1 billion valuation. They're only a couple of years old. So they're a really interesting company. And I think as a tool for students to use, for you to use for presentations, but also for training materials, you can put your Keeping Children Safe in Education update. You can create a Gamma of it, summary of KCSIE to share with your staff. It's just really, really useful tool.
Can it become SCORM compliant?
Sorry?
SCORM compliant.
SCORM compliant. I don't. You mean in terms of like Moodle type,
Yes,
BLE type?
Throwing it into an LMS, and then you can get scores from tests and things that are built inside it.
No, but I literally think that you can see my script because I'm about to show you one that is. So
just on the Gamma.
Yeah.
You don't have friends that want to sign up.
If you don't have friends
that want to sign up, there was a clause there. Can you buy credits?
Yeah, you can buy. So it's 100 £100 a year roughly for unlimited. There's quite a few schools have done that, by the way, where they've realised that this is a really valuable tool. What they don't do yet, which I have talked to the founder Grant about, is I think they should do some sort of institutional license where you can have per head. At the moment, you have to pay 100. I mean, I suppose you can have one account that lots of people can use. Yes.
So one account in the institution.
Copilot is also a very good presentation.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite similar. It's not as polished, but if you have Microsoft tools and use Copilot, it is a very good presentation creator.
Yeah, it doesn't do a bad job at all, actually. And that's not. You don't have to have the free version, paid version, do you? You can do that inside of the generic Copilot
because it's
tool.
PowerPoint compatible with Microsoft, so it does a good job of it.
Good to hear. I generally haven't found it as good, but maybe I'm like the all they're improving. They're improving all the time. But yeah, students like using Gamma. Students like using Gamma because it's just nice. It's the user interface. It's nice. It's attractive. It's easy to use. So I do think it's worth looking at. The other one I wanted to show you, which links quite nicely into Gamma. Now it used to be called Quizzes. Anyone use Quizzes? 3-4 people? Yeah. Okay. It's now called Weight-Ground, which for me sounds like some sort of diet supplement. It really does. Weight-Ground. It sounds like weight. So I'm thinking of Weight-Bees. Weight-Ground. And it's a quiz generator, but it does actually quite a lot more than that. But you can embed these quizzes into Gamma, so you can link them together. I'll show you how it works. So, first thing to say about quizzes, I'm going to call it quizzes. I actually don't like the term Weight-Ground, so we call it quizzes. The thing with quizzes is that when you first sign up, if you sign up with a school email account, you won't have access to the AI for free. You have to have 5 people from your school need to sign up with the same email suffix. Is it 5 now? I think it used to be 5. Looking at you because you read your hand up. They don't know.
I suspect they've pulled that offer.
You think they've done what?
I think they've pulled that offer now.
Have they?
Yeah, the free for schools is no longer a...
Oh, really? Because I got free. I don't have pay, but I've got it. Is it because I was already on the inside, do you think?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, so, but do they offer the basic AI? Like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get like the freemium.
No, that's fine. So this one I'm about to show you, I think, still does work, which is just the basic AI quiz creation, not any of the fancy stuff. But I still think you need more than. I still think you need to have multiple email addresses to sign up. It does change all the time, but from my recent knowledge, you need to have at least 5 people signing up with your school email account, and then you get the free that I'm about to show you. Okay? So you won't be able to do this just with your unless you pay for it, of course. So if I just go in here, look, I just click on create. I'm just going to create a multiple choice quiz of that same worksheet, that same cell biology. So I just choose assessment and then generate with AI. And then I'm literally going to do exactly the same as what I just did. I'm going to go text/prompt and I'm going to grab my cell structure text and I'm going to paste it in. You can upload it, but I'm going to paste it in so you can see it there. I'm going to choose 10 questions, science, year 10. Cell biology GCSE, and then I click generate quiz. And what it's doing first of all, it's literally just taking that Word document and it's just turning it into a multiple choice quiz. Pretty basic, most AIs can do that. There we go. I can change any of this, so I can go into where it says AI here, and I can get the AI to change the question type. So I can convert it into drag and drop down match, fill in the blank. I can localize it for the UK if I need to do that. I can translate it to a bunch of different languages. Once I'm happy with that, I just click publish. Okay, and you get this kind of screen here. And I can very easily do this live in the lesson. So I just click start now. And then I do teacher-led or student-paced. Let's do teacher-led. And then I can add some accommodations in here, so I can actually change it. I won't for now, but you can have a play with that. I choose next. I choose continue. Okay, and then it's ready to go. and then I click start. So it's literally just kind of follow your nose stuff. And what it will do now, you can play along if you like, is you can actually now go to joinmyquiz.com and you can put in this number. We can test your cell biology knowledge, can't we? It's going to be fun. So joinmyquiz.com, I will copy that and I will just paste it into a new incognito window. And you can go 807863. And you will then get that. Oh look, got a bit of Halloween vibe going. Oh no, it's not too early now actually. So there we go. We've got N, we've got Paul, we've got Richard, we've got Gillian. There we are. Look, so you can just, if you want to join in, you can.
I don't want to embarrass myself. Oh, I've just done that.
So yeah, if you want to join in, you can. Look, we've got a bunch of people who've already joined, and then literally all we do. So this is the teacher version that you can see here. This is the student version that you can see here. So the teacher goes start now, and then you should start to see this. And then the teacher goes, next. And so on. And you can do it automatically. I mean, I'm obviously doing this teacher-led, but you can just do it student-led. So we can do that. We won't do them all because obviously I want to move on, but you get the idea. And so on and so forth. Okay. And then I can end the assessment. Should we see who wins as well? First. You don't want to see as well? You don't think it's going to be you? Who's that? Come on, who's AC? There we are. Look. So it's just it's a nice, simple, easy way of testing. You get some analytics, and you know it could be a useful tool, I think, for students to use. So I just go back in though, because the other thing I wanted to show you. So this is the dashboard page for the quiz itself. That was live, so that I did it in the lesson. But what I can also do is embed this quiz into my Gamma deck, so that kids can use it as like a little assessment tool. Maybe they read the document, they read the information, and at the end they can be quizzed on it. You'll see on this page the library or the dashboard for the particular the individual quiz. You've got these three dots, a little menu. If I just tap on there, I'm going to choose embed. So 3 dots, embed. And then I just copy that embed code. Okay, so I've just copied the embed code for the quiz. I go back into Gamma. Okay. I'm going to go to the bottom of the page and just create a new page. There we are. I've just created a blank card. No, I'm not done anything. I don't have to give it a title. I could do if I wanted to, but I'm not going to bother. Literally just a blank card. And now if I go into the embed apps, the one I showed you minutes ago, underneath the video, you've got this embed apps webpage. Just tap on there. And then I just choose the first option, web page or app. Because basically, by pasting that in, I can change the title if I wanted to. I won't bother, but you can change the thumbnail, whatever you wanted to change it to. And then I don't need to save it because it auto saves. And then if I just choose publish and view the site again. Now at the bottom of here is my quiz. Tap on the quiz and tap continue. And it just takes me to the asynchronous version of the quiz. So kids can do it in their own time. Is it SCORM compliant? I'm actually not really sure because I wonder how much we worry. I mean, is SCORM even a thing in lots of schools? Things like Google Classroom, whether we actually, because we've got these integrated systems that all kind of work.
It is in the military.
Yeah, it is in the military. Yeah, okay.
We'll still run through things like that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether this would be, but it's not so. It's actually not a question I've ever had asked before. But this will just give you the same quiz, but asynchronous. get the idea. So
used to be that you could upload from a photo as well. So you could take a photo if you give them like 2 pages in the textbook to read. You could, if you have the app on your phone, you can take a photo of the double page, and it drags the text from that.
Yeah,
which is really helpful.
Yeah. Interestingly, more and more, I'll show you another tool where you can do that as well. More and more of these AIs have very, very good optical character recognition vision. So they can actually, it's not just they're reading text, they can actually also read images as well. It's getting better and better. So that's Gamma. As I said, it's an interesting tool, and certainly the embedding functions I think are quite helpful. But there's another one I actually wanted to show you, which I've not shown this to people before. This is the first time. It's a bit risky. This is chat.z.ai. Chat.z.ai. This is a Chinese model. So the first thing, obviously, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's Chinese or whether it's based in the US. Just don't upload anything sensitive to it. Don't upload anything confidential. Don't upload anything personally identifiable because your data isn't secure. But as a tool to create stuff, it's very, very interesting. And as I said, I'm literally just scratching the surface of this, to the point where I was just playing with it last night in the hotel, because there are some new features. You can actually see here, it has AI slides, and it also has magic design. If I just grab the same text, so cell structure and organization, and I was just to say, create a fun, engaging presentation of this material, and then paste that in, and then choose AI slides, and then choose send. What I'm hoping, and again, this is also so new, and I've not shown this to anyone else before, but if it lets me down, then I'll keep rolling to see. What it's doing is it's reading, obviously reading the text, and I'm hoping it's going to generate. There we are. Now it's thinking. You can actually see it thinking here. And now what it's actually doing is it's let me start by searching for some relevant images to make the presentation visually appealing. So it's actually going online and it's finding the images. This is a little bit like Gamma, but AI is just going off and it's doing some searching. It's not going to generate the images, it's going to find the images online. So it's doing that now. Let's just see how long it takes. Moment, it's struggling right now. There we are. So now it's found some images. So it's found images for prokaryotic, eukaryotic cells. Now it's searching for images for cell differentiation. This is, I have to say, this is a little bit slower, as you can see, but I think it's doing quite a thorough job. It's basically working. There we are. So it's found some images. So this is it working in real time. It's now found the images that it's going to use. They're all just pulled from the internet. Then none of them are rights. They're not coming from image libraries because they don't have the overlay, the image library overlay. You can click on the original. That's interesting. It will take you to the page there. Look. Okay. Now I have the necessary images for our presentation. Let me create a fun, engaging presentation about cell structure and organization. So now it's creating. So look what it's doing. It's actually it's creating the page using code. That's right. It's done in Chinese. That's so interesting. It's not. Yeah, that's okay. Well, that hasn't worked so well, has it? Let's see if it does the rest. I might just stop it and say, in UK English, not in Chinese. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Let's see if hopefully it will change that first slide now into one that is, unless of course you're doing it in China, which is, that could work very well. I apologise for the confusion. See how it's a very fast coder. There you go. And now it's just going to go and it's going to now create the rest of the slides for me. We'll just give it one more minute. Well, I won't do the whole thing. I'll just let it do one more slide and then you can see. Good. Do one more. So it's basically now just creating a presentation. At any time I can, I'll show you once it's done. Do one more, just so it's finished up that one off. Now this, because it's coded like a web page, it's not editable. So that's worth knowing about. There we go, that's fine. So,
edit option though, isn't there on the slide? So
yeah, oh yeah, actually, yeah, maybe you can actually, and maybe I probably shouldn't have, let me just continue, I'm just being impatient. Let me just let it finish. And while we're doing that, let me show you one more option for slide generation. Okay? So this is another one that's worth looking at. So this is called Kimi. So Kimi's Alibaba's AI model. Very powerful. One of the best coders around at the moment. Very, very good. Again, it's free, but you've got something here called Kimi Slides. So I can do the same thing. So I can literally do the same thing. I can just grab my text and I can say, please create a PowerPoint from the below. Details from below information. Do not change the text. I'm going to say UK English. Slightly nervous. And what this will do, Kimi's slightly different in that it's going to give you options for the style. It's basically going to give you templates for the look of the presentation. So we'll let that one just kind of continue on in the background. So there we go. So now what it's doing is it's a bit like Gamma actually. It's actually creating each of the cards, just the text for each of the cards. Go back into ZAI. It's still going, look. Still going. Still adding in slides. But yeah, you're right. Again, because I've not used it much, it looks like there is the ability to edit, but because I didn't allow it to finish. Oh no, it's still going. Look, it is still actually. But that's not bad. When you look at the detail, it's adding some quite nice detail. It's looking quite, the graphics aren't bad at all. So I think it's definitely worth, but we'll let it chunk away in the background. Go back to Kimi. Now what Kimi's doing is it's basically planning out each of the slides. Here we are. And once it plans out the slides, it's going to give me options for the slide look, the theme of the slide, and then it will automatically code, or it doesn't work with code. It just literally writes the content into each PowerPoint slide, a little bit like Gamma does actually. So this works in a slightly different way from the Z platform that I've just showed you. Bit slow. Would have liked it if it was a bit faster. Particularly live in front of people where you're like drumming your fingers thinking, come on. Often it is. It might just be because lots of people are online and it's just got itself a little bit slow.
I'll just ask a question one into that.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
What would be, if you might do it like that, what would be a good tool to say take a body of text and create a sort of a short video that does, almost like a text to video kind of thing?
I mean, there aren't that many tools that will you can if you look at inside of AI Studio, generate media, and you've got VO, but it's only going to give you an 8-second video. at the moment, I would say that text to video is simply not. It's one of the reasons why I don't really demonstrate it, because it's just there is no tool where you would put in a whole text that's just going to create you a video. It's just too early. You literally have to break it into 8-second chunks and then edit them manually. You can do it inside of Flow. I don't know whether Google people have used Flow, which is basically an editing tool inside of Google. You have to pay for that. But right now, I just don't think we've got the ability to create really meaningful videos using AI. Not yet. This time next year, definitely. But right now, no. Let's just have a look and see whether it has finished. Yeah, now look, click edit. Yeah, look, it does. You can. Oh no, you have to describe it. So there we are. You actually have to prompt, and it will then. You can't actually edit in line. You have to actually describe your editing ideas, and it will then edit. But then if I go in, where's it gone? It's disappeared. Lost it. There we go. What you can do, you can click play, and it will do the presentation like that. But also, you can share, copy the link. So this is an interesting thing with ZAI. Copy the link in exactly the same way that you did with Gamma. It's a web page. Okay, so it does also give you a freely available web page, which is a web page presentation. So I do think these new tools like Zed and like Kimi are worth looking at, because I just think they're doing things that not many other websites are doing. So here we are. So I can go preset mode, detailed text. I can just click on here, look. I can choose a theme. So let me just choose a theme, and then generate slides. And so what it will do, so it's going to work in a slightly different way to ZAI, and it's not actually coding like ZAI is. You're literally just in the same way that we saw with Gamma. It's going to just create on the fly, it's creating the PowerPoint presentation. It's Kimi, same as Zed. Your data's not secure, you're not going to be uploading anything sensitive to it. But for planning and resourcing, it could be useful. It's going to because it's using a template PowerPoint, the images themselves won't necessarily be relevant, so you have to change the images. But you can download it, and it will download as a PowerPoint. So it actually downloads as a proper PowerPoint. And you can see here, look, any of these slides we can actually change inside of any of the text, because it's literally just writing inside of a PowerPoint presentation. So I think Kimi and Zed definitely worth exploring. My money's still probably on Gamma right now for presentations. I still think it's a better tool, but these tools, I just think they're catching up. One thing I'm not so keen on with these is I just feel like there's for like leading a lesson, there's too much text. You know, that you end up being the whole kind of talking at slides thing. So I think it's where they're more powerful is where we're creating resources that we share with students. I think it's the same in some respects as with Gamma as well. But you know, it has given me a lot of detail. I'll just let it finish off. It's just literally 90%. So you can see, there we are. So I click download, and I download the font, the whole thing, and that now is a PowerPoint. That again is editable, you know, so it's editable in the same way that that a PowerPoint presentation would be. So Kimi, great. Zed, really interesting. Both of them are quite useful, I think, useful tools. Okay, so that's presentation. Okay, so we've gone through content creation. We've done some work on presentation. What I want to do now is just move into some data analysis, because I think that it's starting to get a little bit more useful. Let's see if I can find it. Where are we? There we are. Yeah. So I'll start with a bit of planning for exam papers and mark schemes, and then we'll go into some of the feedback in a bit. So this, now you mentioned about you'd use this for exam papers and mark schemes. And there's a big unlock. Those of you who try to create exam papers, sometimes it just doesn't do a particularly good job of faithfully replicating the exam paper. But what I'm about to show you, I think is quite a big unlock. So the trick with creating resources, assessment resources, is that you need to ask the AI to analyze the paper first and then generate. So number one, analyze, number two, generate. Rather than just giving it an exam paper and saying just create another one, if you get it to read and analyze the structure and the question format, etc. first, and then it takes that learning and then uses it to generate another version, it actually works really, really well. So you can use this with any tool. I'm actually going to use it with AI Studio, just because I think it works really, really well. But you can use it with ChatGPT, you can use it with, it really doesn't matter, you can use it with a bunch of different models. So I'm going to do this though. I'm going to just grab that first question. Now this is for SATs, a SPAG paper for SATs. So the first thing I'm going to ask it to do is I'm going to ask it to, just go in here, look. Yeah. I'm going to change this model, by the way, sorry to say. Just going to change that model from Nano Banana, and I'm going to change it to Gemini Pro. Okay? This is if you're going to use AI Studio for anything apart from images, use this 2.5 Pro. It's so much better than any other free tool. It's a very, very powerful tool. You'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. So I pop that prompt in. Okay, so that prompt that I've got there, look. So I'm here creating exam papers. I'm going to begin by analysing the paper. So I'm copying that prompt, number one, analyse the paper. And then all I do is I grab the paper and I just drag it in. You'll see it here, look. There we are. So English grammar, punctuation and spelling, paper one questions, drag it in to here. And now I just click run. It's just extracting at the moment. There we go. And I click run. And so the first prompt is not going to write the paper for me. It's going to analyse the paper so that it shows me that it understands. It shows me that it understands the paper. It's thinking.
You know, you mentioned earlier about AQA and the copyright. Yeah. Can you put exam papers from AQA into?
I mean, it's a good question. It's a good question. You would have to look at the individual exam board, and you'd have to look at the individual copyrights. I'm using this tool because I think it's one of the better tools for analysing. But if you were to use Notebook LM, which I showed you earlier, you're probably a bit safer. I just find this is a tool that if you're not worried too much about the copyright aspects, as you've looked behind the scenes, this is just going to give you a better output. But it has to be on a case-by-case basis. I mean, because every exam board is slightly different. So here we are. What it's done, look, question analysis, punctuation, grammar, vocabulary, language, mark distribution, question formats used. Very, very detailed. I mean, that's very, very nuanced and detailed analysis all the way through. This is probably the best reading and analysis tool that's available, Google AI Studio, because it's using the most advanced Google model, 2.5 Pro. This is the model that you pay for this usually, if you pay for Google Gemini, but you get it for free here. So there you go, look, so it's given me masses of information, okay? Concise summary for creating a similar paper. To create a similar assessment paper, you need to follow these certain principles. You've got 1 to 7 there. So I then go in here and I say, right now, I'm going to ask it just to write the first 10 questions. Don't ask it to write all of the questions at once, because it will all these AIs, if you ask it to write 50 questions, it will get to the first 20 to 30. You just feel like the quality will fade off towards the end. So I'm now going to say, create the first 10 questions of the paper. And that's exactly what it will do. And so it's going to give me those first 10 questions. And because it's written the original, because it's analysed the original paper, it's going to be much more faithful to the original than if you were just to get it to generate the whole thing. Oh, it's definitely not being very helpful to me today. What's going on there? This is very strange. Okay, I'm going to pause it there. Yeah, okay, so that, again, like before, I've not seen that before, it's very interesting. Yeah, it's definitely not done that particularly well. On that flickering thing, I've not seen before either. So maybe worth trying it inside of something like a notebook LM and see if that's better. Because Google AI Studio today, it failed on the vision test, and it's now just failed on this test as well. So I think maybe there's a bit of a glitch in the mainframe with AI Studio, which is disappointing, because usually it does that incredibly well. When it does do it well, you can literally just copy from here, look top right, copy as the text, and it works in exactly the same way as Google Notebook LM, in that it will hold the formatting, really well. It holds the formatting, but it just needs to be slightly changed here. But it's done a pretty good job at holding the formatting. You do exactly the same thing with the mark scheme. Okay, I'm actually going to do this inside of a different AI because it just feels like it's failed me hugely. I'll do it inside of Google Gemini. So you do exactly the same thing with the mark scheme. You would just put in the mark scheme. Actually, no, I won't be able to because I've done the first thing. So I'm going to have to see this out. See the course through with this. So I'll go back into AI Studio, chat. Let's try history. Go back in here. Oh, it hasn't even saved. Oh no, it has. There it is. Look, yeah. I just pop in this prompt. So this is going to do exactly the same thing as before. Identical. Sad that I did that. There we are. I grab the mark scheme. There we are. English mark scheme for the spag paper. Drag it in here. And I'm going to ask it exactly the same as what I did before. Now, can you analyse the mark scheme in the same way so you understand the mark scheme? And I'll just ask it to do the first 6 questions. I think, yeah, the first 6 questions were fine. So I'll just ask it to do the first 6 questions, the mark scheme for the first 6 questions. There we go. So it's now giving me the analysis of the mark scheme. That in itself could be quite useful because actually it's giving you a lot of useful information that you could potentially use for your own planning. Just the fact that it's giving you that breakdown of a question paper and a mark scheme. And then I just ask it to do, I'll just ask it to generate the first 6 answers. And let's see whether it goes a bit weird on me again, like it just did. That bizarrely, bizarrely, that can sometimes predate a big update. Sometimes I don't know whether anyone notices with AI. Sometimes it goes really strange, and then all of a sudden they release a new model. It's almost like they're kind of tweaking it in the background, and then it's released with a new model. We'll see whether it actually works this time. No, it's definitely not. Sadly, it's definitely not behaved itself because it's brought these breaks in which I've not seen before. So yeah, so my suggestion would be don't use AI Studio just yet. Don't use AI Studio. But exactly what I've showed you, you can do it in Gemini, you can do it inside of Claude. I should have used Claude. It's a big mistake because you can't usually go wrong with Claude. I made the mistake of using AI Studio. You can use ChatGPT. But the trick is to get it analysed first. Analyse, create. And not just with exam papers, with most things actually. If you want to kind of copy another, create more of the same, get it to read the original first and analyse the original first, and then get it to create the new version. I just found that was a really, really big unlock for me, and it was just able to just chunk out. Because of course, once you've got the templates, you just say, right, do another one, do another one, do another one. It's always going to be based on that initial analysis. I just find it really, really helpful. I just want to show you just a few more things because I genuinely want to give you, a good chunk of kind of 45 minutes or so at the end, just to take all of these ideas and just to have a play with my support, because I'm just aware it's a lot to take in, and I think it's actually quite important that you have a chance to have a bit of a play. So we've looked at some, and I definitely want to do a couple of things on coding with AI, which I'll talk about in a moment. So we've done a bit of work on presentations. We've obviously done the content creation. Just want to start looking at maybe some more analysis tools. Okay, and there's one that I think is really interesting, and I'm going to just quickly explain this to you. But actually, on the sheet that I've shared with you, it has it in more detail. And if it doesn't, I'll make sure it does have it. Okay. So I'm using Claude here. So this is Claude.ai. Okay, Claude.ai. And I want to show you this to you as an example of what is already possible with these AI tools. And I'm taking some risks today because this is the first time I've demonstrated this. I'm not just saying that, genuinely the first time I've demonstrated this. Because today I just thought I want to do some new stuff. I want to kind of show you just what you potentially can do with AI. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But usually it's beneficial. So I'm in Claude, okay? Claude.ai. Claude is the tool I personally use the most for my own business, for the stuff that I do, particularly for coding. But Claude has some really interesting features because you can actually use Claude and it can go inside of other platforms and do stuff inside of other platforms. For example, I won't show you now because I did this earlier, it's actually quite funny. I can get it to go into my Gmail. Now Claude, you can turn off any data training, so actually it's not using your data, just to say that. And it's not using your data outside of the interaction. So I can get it to go and look at my Gmail, and that data from my Gmail is not going and going anywhere that I don't want it to go. Really important to say that. But what I did, I won't show you because it's a bit embarrassing. I actually got it to do this. Look through my emails and tell me where I'm avoiding something important. And so I tapped on this. I'm not going to do it now because it will actually show you everything that I'm avoiding. And I'm not kidding you, it was really insightful. I just did it just earlier on, just in the break, because I've not done it before. And it was telling me, you've got 4 emails from 6 months ago that you haven't responded to yet, and they're all on the same theme. And that suggests to me that you're avoiding certain aspects of your work. It was like, woo, it was quite hard hitting. So you can, but I use this a lot. So what I will use it for is I will literally say, go into my Gmail, read my emails, and can you list everything that's outstanding for the last month? And it will. It will literally list them. And then I'll say, now can you write it up into a Notion document? And it will actually write everything up into Notion. So it's very, very powerful things now. And I'm going to show you how to do this.
Is there an Outlook option?
Sorry?
Is there an Outlook option on that?
Let me have a look. I'm not sure because I don't use it, but we'll have a look now. I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. And obviously this is being recorded, so which is great because normally these sorts of I think I'm recording it. I did press record. I suddenly think, oh my god!
Start again.
Yeah. So let's not go through that trauma again. Definitely not. So I'm going to go step by step. And I wasn't going to show this, by the way, but you guys, I can kind of tell you're sort of wanting to be pushed. So I want to show you something next level. Okay. So I'm in Claude Desktop, number 1. Okay. So number 1, you need to have downloaded Claude Desktop because it's working as a standalone desktop application. It's not the web version. It's the desktop application. This is a significant up level with Claude because you can do things with it that you can't do on the web version. Number 2, this is the only tool that I'm going to say to you. What I'm about to show you can only do if you have the paid version, but it's $20 a month. And if you're going to invest any money in AI, I would give it to Anthropic, to the guys who make Claude, because I just think they're a better tool. I think what they offer is just better. Again, personal opinion. A lot of people prefer ChatGPT, but I just think Claude do a better job. So assuming that you have, number one, the desktop version, number two, the paid version, let me show you how this works. I go into settings, Claude settings. I go into connectors, okay, in settings. And I can, no, so it actually does Google, Gmail, Notion. Let me have a look. Browse, maybe browse connectors. Let's have a look and see if it does. Canva. You can create designs inside of Canva, by the way, with Claude. Databricks, Fireflies, Gmail, Figma, Intercom, Indeed, Monday, Netlify, Notion, PayPal, Ramp. No, not Microsoft. I think it will come, and I'll tell you why. Because actually now you can use Claude inside of Copilot. So Microsoft have just partnered with Anthropic. So you will soon be able to choose whether you use Microsoft ChatGPT, essentially, GPT model inside of Copilot, or Claude. So I think it will come, but it's not there yet. What you do is this, look. All I've done is I have configured Notion. Okay, so Notion. And Notion's this platform here that has all of my. This has all of the prompts on. Okay, this is free, by the way. You can just use Notion for free. I pay for it because I use it a lot, but you get a lot of use for free. So I have basically what I've done, okay, is you connected Notion into Claude using this connectors, and I literally just click. You can see where it says here connect. I would literally see Notion. I would click connect. That's it, and it will connect Notion into Claude. From here, everything that you do inside of Claude can be written into Notion. So I can literally control Notion through Claude. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Just it's slightly next levelish. So basically now what I've got, if I just tap off here, if I tap on here where it says search and others, you can actually see that Notion is turned on. So now what that tells me is I'm able to interact with Notion from inside of Claude. It's using something called a Model Context Protocol, or MCP. You will hear that term, if you're inside of AI, if you're interested in AI, you'll hear that term more and more. It's a year old. It's November last year it was released. Anthropic released it, actually. It's an Anthropic tool. And all it basically does, it enables your AI to talk to other platforms and services. That's what it is. Like create a bridge. It's a bridge between, in this case, Claude, but ChatGPT also does it as well, by the way. You can actually have the same service inside of ChatGPT. So you can do exactly what I'm about to show you inside of ChatGPT as well, but again, it's the paid version, not the free version. So watch this. I go into Notion, okay? And I am taking risks today, and I'm hoping I don't regret it. And what I've got is I've got some essays inside of Notion, and I've got some assessment criteria, some Macbeth essays. So these are my assessment criteria for this title, starting with this extract. Explain how Shakespeare presents the role of the witches in Macbeth. Write about so on and so forth. And then I've got literally just copy pasted from an exam board, just literally from, I'm not sure which one it was. There we are. Might have been EdXL actually. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Anyway, it's just literally copied and pasted into Notion. Okay. And then I've got 2 essays. You would have a whole class set, obviously, but I've got 2 essays. One there, Susan Smith and William Jones. Okay, now, watch what I do. I go into Notion, into Claude, and I'm literally going to ask it to go into Notion to assess the essays against the assessment criteria, to put comments and give it a grade. And I'm going to ask it to give a grade range rather than a precise grade, because I still don't think AI is good enough to give an absolutely solid grade, but it will do very, very well with grade ranges. So bear in mind, you can see exactly what I'm about to do. I'm not pointing it in the direction of this file. I'm going to explain in natural language what I want it to do. I'm going to say, please go into I'm going to just say, let me just make sure I get the right name here. Let's go here, look. Go into the Macbeth Essays page in Notion. Read the assessment criteria. Then assess the 2 essays and give feedback at the bottom of each essay in green font. Give the 2 essays a grade range, but explain to the students that this is indicative only. Okay, so that's all I've done. I've not pointed out. I'm literally just explaining to Claude what I want it to do. So what I do now is I hit send. And what it should now do is it says, okay, I'm now going to go into Notion and I'm going to fulfill those, and it might ask me to hit a button to say accept. So there we go. Search Notion and connected sources, and it should say, I found the page. Great. Let me read the assessment criteria. Okay. So it's gone into a page. Now it's reading the assessment criteria. I can see the page structure. Let me fetch the assessment criteria first, then the 2 student essays. Now let me fetch Susan Smith's essay, because it's now inside of Susan Smith's essay. Again, this is slightly patched together. This is not necessarily something you would scale, but I want to show you what you're already able to do with these tools. Okay, now it's reading William's essay. And now it's preparing to assess the Macbeth essays against the criteria. And now it's giving assessment grades. It's preparing the targeted feedback. Perfect, I've reviewed both the essays. Now I'll add feedback to each essay. Let me start with Susan Smith's essay. And that's exactly what it's doing, look. It's working, and it's adding feedback into Susan Smith's essay. Failed to call an update page. Let's hope it has actually worked. No, it's definitely not happy today. It's just letting me down a bit. Let's try it again.
Do you think there is an ethical consideration here in that you're putting those pieces of work somewhere else?
You need to okay, so with student work you do need to have their okay, it's their IP. So that's something that you can either ask them if they're over 18 directly, or you could start looking at giving them options of doing this themselves, where they can actually upload these and they can. So let's say, for example, they're working in a tool like Notion, and they have an AI that can actually give them feedback that they can do this themselves. I think the more we can give tools to students, the better, because also you're giving them ownership of the feedback rather than doing it. So I'm just showing you what's possible. How you deal with that in terms of internally with getting the right or getting the okay from your students, or doing it yourself versus giving to students, that's something that you need to talk to your students about for sure.
I think it's really important, because this makes it really easy to potentially assess work, and I feel like it's the kind of thing that some people might just do without thinking about that. So I think if we're talking about this, we need to think about that element of it. That it is, like you say, it's their intellectual property, it's their, not necessarily these ones, but like it's their work.
I mean, again, but sadly it's not going to work today, which again, as it usually does work very well, but for today for some reason AI is definitely not my friend. But I think this is one use case, but as I said, you can do it. So for example, the other thing that I will do is I'll have lots and lots of notes inside of Notion. I'll ask you to go and read all of the notes and just summarize. So take my work and it will just reformat. So this may not be a way that you would want to use it. Right now, why would you? It's just not working. Let's try again. Oh no, No, so it's definitely no. We couldn't now connect to Claude. Oh, it seems to be a network problem. It seems to be a network problem as opposed to a Claude problem, because it's maybe it's something to do with the network here. Anyway, check that out maybe in your own time, because I'm hoping it will work better for you. But I think the ability for AI to work inside of documents, let's see, I don't know whether it has actually. No, it didn't write the feedback into the document, sadly. It hasn't actually added anything. I was hoping it would actually add some feedback at the bottom in green. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, it hasn't done that. But ChatGPT will also work in exactly the same way. But yeah, if you're using any student essays, just make sure you get their okay, because it is seen as being their intellectual property. Okay. Again, I wasn't going to show you that. I was hoping that would work, but we'll let it chunk away in the background, and maybe it will at a later date. Okay. Okay. Just get to that. Get to that. Get to that. That's fun. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you is kind of, again, moving into a little bit more next level, is how you can use AI to code. Because I actually think this is potentially the biggest unlock. Because you can get it to write the code, and once you start getting it to write the code, you can pretty well do, I mean, almost the sky's the limit once you get to the point where I'm at, where it's right down the rabbit hole. You can do some pretty amazing things with AI. So, for example, let me see if I can find it. So what I've got here, and again, I'm not going to show you this in any depth, but I just want to show it to you. I'm doing some work with a school at the moment, Wellington College. And what I've basically done is I've created an agentic AI platform where you have an orchestrator, and you have a researcher, and you have a graphic designer, and at any point, the students can call up these agents. So they can just be chatting to the AI chatbot, and you can call up a designer that generates an image, call up a researcher that searches the internet. All of this is coded using AI tools. I can't code. I'm an English teacher. But I've been able to create a very sophisticated platform just using AI coding tools. So this is really very, very, very pilot at the moment. I'm not going to demonstrate it to you, but you can see actually the ability to create actually really quite sophisticated stuff with AI is very, very real. But just as a beginner, just getting into it, there's some really interesting things that you can do. I'm just going to show you 2 or 3 examples. And I think this is where you might want to have a play, either follow along with me now, or when we're going to finish in about sort of 15, 20 minutes or so. For the last half an hour, you'll have a chance to actually do this stuff yourself. And I think this is where you're going to probably find some of the most value. So I just go back into Notion. I'm so curious to see whether this is going to work second time round. It's still chunking away. Do you know what? I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully I'll let it just chunk away in the background then. Hopefully it will actually work. So I'm going to do this initially inside of Claude. But you can do it inside of ChatGPT, you can do it inside of Google Gemini, but what I'm about to show you with Claude is you can actually share the generated digital products directly inside the platform, a little bit like we did with Zed. So I go into my Notion document, okay? And you will see near the bottom of the document, number 6, you might want to just you might want to just go to this part of the document now. It just says getting into vibe coding. And as I said, vibe coding literally is just AI writes the code for you. But you still need to plan, you still need to structure it, you still need to put some initial work in, but AI will actually just physically write the code for you. What's quite interesting about this, actually, just as a personal aside, my son started to do this. So he started to use AI to write the code. He very quickly got to the point where he became so interested in coding that he's now learning. So he's now learning to write code in Python. So it's kind of almost back to front. He saw the potential of what code can do, but for him, just using AI is not good enough. he actually wants to do it himself. So maybe as an introduction, it's a great way in, but for pupils, I still genuinely think that them learning to code is a really, really good thing. And I think we should actively encourage it. Even though AI can do so much now, I think learning to write code is fantastic. Let me show you how this works. So I'm going to do this first one here. And this is one that you might want to literally follow along and do with me. I'm going to get it to create an interactive digital guide on a subject. So like a microsite on a subject. So I'm going to put this prompt in. It's going to ask me for the year group, the subject, and the topic. It's then going to research online, and it's then going to write the code. Okay. So let me just grab this prompt and just drop it into Claude. You can do this on the desktop or the web version. Doesn't matter. This particular thing doesn't matter at all which one you use. I'm using the desktop version, but I'm slightly nervous because it's definitely not my friend this afternoon. It's been letting me down a lot, so I'm hoping that it won't let me down on this occasion. Okay, so I'm going to ask anyone at all. Who's a primary school teacher here? Primary school? Primary? Okay, give me a year group.
Year 2.
Year 2, give me a topic. A subject.
History.
History, and give me a topic.
The moon landing.
Oh, great one. I love that. Okay, so year 2 history, the moon landing. And what it will do is it's now going in to search the web. This is agentic AI. In other words, it's calling the web search feature without me asking it to. Well, I asked it in the prompt, but I've not had to press a button. It's literally now just gone in. It's found 20 websites. There you go. Look, it's read 20 websites. There we are. Read all of those. And now it's writing the code. And so what it will do is it will generate a little guide to the moon landings. So it's given me lots and lots of, anyone who knows about coding, it's given me lots of style, and then once it's done the style, it will do the content underneath. There we are, it's now writing the content. Now while it's doing it, I'm actually going to do exactly the same thing. And again, I've said this a few times, and I'm this is genuine. I'm not just saying this for you guys. This is absolutely true. I've not done this before because this is such a new tool. I'm going to put exactly the same prompts into that Z tool. Choose write code. Exactly the same prompt, and let's just compare and contrast the two. So I'm going to put in the year 2 moon landings. There you go. So year 2 history. And moon landings. Let's see which one does best. So this is the ZAI, this GLM 4.6 that I did with the presentation. Let's just see which one does a better job. So this is still going, look, still writing the web page.
I'm going to ask what's probably a stupid question.
Probably not a stupid question.
Why are we asking it to code as opposed to just asking it to do the thing?
Because the thing is the thing is created by the code.
Because when we look at some of the other things, like they've created presentations and things that can become web pages, which have come from code.
Yeah.
But without us asking it to do that like a different process.
Basically, it's showing us the code now, isn't it? But it was using code previously, just showing it to us.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So, what's the benefit of seeing the code?
So you just put prompts in, as you've done in all the other ones. So what's the difference?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And would you be able to go in there and do something?
You can. I mean, if you understand code, you can tweak it. unfortunately, you know, this is, if nothing is working as it should this afternoon. It's just, and literally, I've done this several times. It hasn't. What it should do is it should automatically create the artifacts, but it hasn't. All it's done is it's given me the code. So,
something to upset
honestly, I have. It's
maybe it's the questions we're asking.
It's
it's your fault.
Followed along and it has produced it.
Yeah, because for you it's done. See, for you it's done exactly the same. Just for me, for some reason, it's slightly frustrating. But it, for some reason, is not done. Basically, what it should have done is automatically create the web page. So the difference is,
the web page though. So mine's created a web page, and it says I should be able to click on it and jump to a section. It's not jumping.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you have to actually literally tell it to.
Yeah, it's not.
Obviously, sometimes the first time you do it, you'll need to say. And if you explain what you need it to change, it will actually do it. Make sure that when you click on this button, it jumps down. But yeah, no, for some reason my maybe it's because I'm doing it inside of the desktop version rather than the online version. That's a possibility. Let's just try it inside of the desktop version, inside of the online version.
I've done something similar-ish, but not to this extent in Canva code as well.
Yeah, Canva code will work in a similar way. It will work in a similar way. Claude's just one example. You're right. Yeah, absolutely right. So year 2 history. I'll try this again inside of the web version rather than the desktop. Might be because I was using the desktop version. So this is the Z. So this is the Z AI, and it's still writing code. So the reason why you might want to start coding is because if you get very into it, you can start building like proper websites. As opposed to just like a single presentation, you can build proper hyperlinks with multiple pages and lots of interactivity in the same way that if you were physically coding a website. But yeah, if you're just doing a presentation, I agree with you. Why would you do this? It's overly complicated. I just use Gamma. There we are. So this is the GLM version. So if I click share, I click copy link, I think, do you know what? I actually think GLM has the edge now over Claude. I can't believe I'm saying that. Look at that. It's even given me like a spacey type background. Gives me a quiz. Launch the rocket. What's that? Oh, look at that. Why not? Look at that. Even has a rocket that launches. So, you can do things like this. Look, you can just say, you know, I know this is a bit of a kind of a superficial thing. Make it even more fun and interactive. Okay. Now, this may seem like a very superficial thing to say, but the reason I'm saying it is because essentially what you're doing is you're having a natural language conversation with a code base. That's an enormous unlock. I cannot tell you what a big unlock that is. And I genuinely think this is something that we have to be teaching our students. For me, it just feels like it's just fundamental. It's like learning a new language. The language of working with AI to write code. Very frustrating. It gets it wrong a lot more than it gets it right. I tear my hair out, literally. I'm amazed I've still got hair. It's really, but when it gets it right, you can do some extraordinary things with writing code. So it looks like, so this is the Claude version. I'm just really keen to see whether it's actually going to give me a platform which is as good as, and now ZAI is just completely rewriting the whole thing to make it even more fun and interactive. Games, animations, and engaging activities it's giving me.
Added sparkles earlier.
Yeah, maybe added sparkle. Who knows?
We did. It had a thing that was like sparkles.
Really? Adding sparkles. That's so cool. It is, look, it is, has anyone else tried this sort of AI coding? I don't know, but I find it really addictive. like to the point where I just spend so much. Virtually, I don't watch TV anymore. It's literally gone. Yesterday evening in the hotel, I was vibe coding. I don't watch Netflix any longer.
Is this why your wife says you talk to AI?
Yeah, no. Well,
real people exist too.
she's right. She is right. But you know what? When it's family time, it's family time, and that's that. You know, that for me is like super important. But I also love. So I sit with my son. We just sit together on the sofa, and we just build stuff together. It's actually a really nice activity to do with kids. It's not technically hard. You just need to have the right platform, like, you know, one of these platforms, and you need to just chat to it, and you need to recognise the fact you've got to iterate many, many times to get it right. Although interestingly, this GLM model seemed to get it right first time, but it's definitely worth exploring. I just want to see. Come on, are you going to work? Are you going to work? Hey, right, this is Claude. Claude. Publish artifact. You can see the little arrow. Publish artifact. Copy the link. So it's the same as it's the same as the GLM model. Let's just open up another tab here. Look, and accept there. So this is the Claude version. Introduction. What was it? It was the moon landing, the astronauts. You know, test your knowledge.
They don't. Why is your mind still not jumping?
Yeah, that's okay. So do you know what? I think right now, and this is the first time I've said it, I think ZAI wins. I think it's slow.
So on my Claude, I went back to the prompt, and it said it reached the character limit. It reached the limit of characters. And I pressed continue, and then it carried on, and it's working now.
Right. Okay.
So people on the free version potentially.
Yeah. So the free version will give you a bit more limited. The other thing about this ZAI, completely free. There is no paid version for this platform. There's no paid version, so they give this away to you for free.
Why are they doing that?
Yeah, well,
it trains
I'll tell you
until
why.
they've got it perfect, and then they can
Because they want to get you hooked into the platform, and then you start using their paid services.
So they have other services.
Yeah, so you can use this tool as a coding tool inside your own coding environment, and then you pay for it. It's still very cheap compared to Claude. It's significantly cheaper than Claude.
Yeah.
Chinese are making AI which is much, much cheaper.
What's the affiliation with X?
There is no affiliation with X.
Share, it says share with X.
Oh, I don't know actually.
That's the one thing that it said.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I wouldn't share anything with X. Wouldn't go anywhere near X. I think that guy's not to be trusted at all.
It's just interesting that that's its default.
Yeah, no, I don't know actually. I've not. There we are.
Its own little chat.
Darren,
Yeah.
we've been using Canva code and actually on occasion using that for the aesthetics and then putting it into Canvas, Gemini Canvas for the functionality. But I think where it's really helpful is starting with the end in mind for the art of the possible. So in a related topic actually, we've got a concept where all the children in the trust would walk to the moon, and it was actually to sort of get the money, go out to procurement, get a website, and then build it would take so much time. And actually, it's just a lovely idea, but it was kind of still in its infancy.
Yeah.
So we used Canva to build that, and then Google Forms and Canvas to have a form where you say your school name and the miles that you've walked that day, and the rocket goes up to the moon. And so it's like those sorts of things. It's completely is that how would we have ever done that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that's where it's really exciting, I think.
So that's exactly. So I'm going to do this bit of work with Wellington College. One of the things I'm doing is they've got a project called Startup Project. So they've got their year 12 pupils who are building businesses, and not just pretend businesses. They're building businesses. There's a group of them that want to create a minimum viable product, an MVP of their platform, and I said I'll work with them and I'll help them to use AI to code their MVP for pretty well free. So actually the ability to take, as you say, to take an idea and to turn it into a prototype, it's not production level, none of this is production level code, but it just gives you all the art of the possible, as you've said. This is what we potentially could do. And then you can maybe take it to a development team and they can actually build it out properly. So you're right. I mean, it's nothing I'm building with AI is production ready, but I'm able to present what's possible, and then maybe I'll get funding in the future to actually get it built properly. But look, it even does this, look. Now, look, you can put footprints on the moon. Why would you want to? I'm not really sure. Amazing space facts. You know, it's just done loads and loads of really, really cool little features. So you can take a basic, what would have been a basic worksheet, and you can actually create something really fun and really engaging, and I can just keep going back, and you know, I can be more specific. Now can you ensure such and such, and it will go and it will rewrite code. That's the other reason why the coding's great, because it's kind of almost infinitely editable, whereas a presentation is actually less so. So you can actually play around with it a lot. I'm just very aware of time, and we're coming sort of to the last sort of half an hour or so, and I know you guys need to be away quite soon. My suggestion is this: for the next sort of 20 to 30 minutes, I've given you so many things to sort of play with, and I almost feel like I could keep going, but it's too much. It's probably too much already. I want you now just to choose one or two of those platforms and just go down that rabbit hole. You know, you might want to choose Notebook LM if you've not used it before. Really just think about that planning sequence. You might want to start doing a bit of vibe coding using GLM or using Claude. Gemini also works, by the way. You might want to create some storybooks. You might want to create some presentations with Gamma. Have a play, and then I'll be sort of wander around or maybe create some Suno songs, possibly. And so not in this corner. And just keep them really quiet. And I'll come out. There's also some other interactive stuff you can read through. There's masses of other ideas on this prompt sheet. I mean, I've literally covered a quarter of what's on this sheet, so there may be some other stuff you want to have a look at as well. But have a play and shout if you need my help, and I'll be here to help if you need it.